Look at this, guys. We are entering South Carolina. Check out that bridge. That's like the old bridge, I guess. They're redoing it. Listen, that's the Savannah River right there. We're just coming out of Augusta. So how's that for an opening clip? That's pretty interesting, right? I'm headed to, I'd say another 30 miles east of here. This is I-20 to a truck stop where I'm gonna meet another driver. And I'll wait till I get there to talk more about the details of what we're gonna do in this video. But yeah, I just wanted to show you the Savannah River and that this huge work zone that's been here for years. They're redoing the whole interstate, I guess, in this area. So I'll see you guys 30 miles east of here. I made it. Okay. Truck stop food. It is what it is. You guys had these yet? These are awesome. I love them. Anyway, I'm gonna try to explain what's going on and be brief about it, but basically I just met up with another one of our drivers in Leesville, South Carolina. I'm at a Circle K truck stop. And what we just did is a double relay. So I brought him a load from McDonough. He brought me a load from Batesville, South Carolina, or North Carolina, actually. And we swapped loads. I'm taking the stuff he just brought back to McDonough, and that's what I'm doing today. Now, Leesville is about 35 miles east of Augusta, and I took the interstate to get here, but I'm not really that enthusiastic about taking the interstate to get back. So what I'm going to do is kind of show you this route. And this is really cool, guys. This is like a special day because I don't ever do this. We actually have a designated driver that does this every day, and this is all he does. And he's so lucky because he does the same thing every day, and it's not hard. I mean, you're not trying to meet, or you're not trying to make it to some appointment or something. Now, the driver that brings the load that I picked up, yeah, he wants you to be here on time, obviously, because he has a clock. And so you have to be here on time. So I guess it is kind of still like an appointment, but still, it's so laid back, it's so chill. The driver that just picked the load that I brought up and gave me this one, really cool guy, awesome. We got some awesome drivers that work for this company. Not all of them are awesome, but a lot of them, yeah, they're really cool. Anyway, I had to kind of rush a little bit to get here, but now that I'm going back, there is no rush. There's no set time for me to get back to McDonald's. So I'm going to take a unique custom route that doesn't really involve the interstate. The first part of it does, but only the first part of it. So basically, let me open up the screen recorder, and I'll if it makes a clicky sound, I'm sorry. But what I want to do is show you where I'm at and how I'm going to do this. So I'm right here. This is I-20 that I'm sitting off of right now. And this is exit 33 on I-20. So I'm going to jump back on I-20 westbound briefly, okay? And then I'm going to come down, I don't know, that was exit 33. So I'm going to come down like 11 miles to exit 22. I'm going to get off on US 1 and start heading southwest. Now we're going to come up to this town called Aiken. That is one of those bypass towns. You have to get on this bypass road. It's US 78 bypass, and I'm going to bypass Aiken, staying on US 1 until it connects with US 78 right here once again. Okay, then I'm going to jump on US 1/US 78 and keep heading west to southwest. And we're going to come up to the city of Augusta. Now I'm going to get on I-520 right here, and none of this is registering in the GPS because it's just being stubborn. It doesn't want to register, but this is what I'm going to do. If you guys see right here, I'm going to jump on 520 and go around Augusta like that. Okay, till I get to this exit right here. This is exit 5, where I'm going to jump back on US 1 and continue to head southwest. Now I'm kind of having to go out of the way just a little bit because yes, I could jump on 78, which you see right here, but I noticed something. It's closed right here, or at least the GPS is telling me that it's closed, so I can't go that way. I'm going to have to go down this way, continuing to go down US 1. Now I'm going to come down southwest to this town right here called Rennes, that you can't see it because that's where the stopping point is. And I'm going to turn right on Georgia 80, and then I'm going to head kind of northwest from that point. Staying on 80, I'm going to continue to head northwest until I come up with, there's actually a couple of different ways I could go, but ultimately what I'm trying to do is head up here this way to Warrenton, where I can then jump on 16 and go that way. Now, is that out of the way? Yeah, it's out of the way a little bit. But this little crossroad right here that the GPS wants me to get on is just a county road, so I'm not going to get on that road. I'm going to take Georgia 80 all the way up to Warrenton to 16, and then I'm going to get on 16 and head west and stay on 16. We're going to come up on this other city. It's called Sparta, which is a real interesting city, and we'll talk more about it when we get there. But 16 goes through it, and then it makes this right turn right here, and then it goes and veers off northwest once again. Now 16, ultimately it's going to take me to Monticello, but before that we're also going to go through this other city called Eatonton. You see it right there. Okay, go straight through Eatonton, stay on 16. This part of Georgia Highway 16 is a highlight for this video because I love that part of Highway 16. It's awesome. Okay, now like I said, eventually we're going to get to Monticello. I just passed it. It's actually right there. And I'm going to take you through Monticello Square again. But unlike in the last video, we're kind of going to be coming into Monticello from the same side, like into the square from the same side. In the last video, we came up 212 and made this left turn right here. So this time we're going to be coming from 16 like that until the two highways merge together in Monticello. And we're going to stay on 16, and then I'm going to do the same thing I always do, which is go straight through Jackson and then jump on Jackson Road right here and then head up to 155 like that. So I need to make a few adjustments in the GPS and then we'll be on our way. But I noticed, I'm glad I reviewed my route like this, because I noticed some mistakes, and there's some things that I want to kind of tweak before I head out of here on the GPS. But that's what we're doing. Hope you're looking forward to it. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Okay. Headed out. This is a pretty good sized truck stop right here. Oh, it says the exit's over here. Are you fibbing? Or is that really an exit? Sorry guys, I still haven't eaten my lunch yet. Sometimes that GPS can really be troublesome. Oh look, there's a doggy. Looks like a stray. Oh, he's taking a poop. Alright. This is a strange road. Anyway, the route that I just showed you, it's kind of an interesting route. I have done this once before, this meetup thing where I did a double relay at this truck stop. I've done it once before. I'm pretty sure that the route that I took the first time I did it was pretty similar to what we're gonna do right now. I mean, I know it was. The only difference is when I went through the last time, US 78 wasn't closed right there, so where I showed you. So it is kind of causing me to have to go out of the way a little bit to do what I want to do. But ultimately what I'm trying to do is get in the right position to where we can drive through Sparta, we can drive through Eatonton, and ultimately come out on the east side of Monticello Square. That's really what I want to do. But in order to do that, I'm gonna have to, you know, do all that other stuff first to get to that area. And it's a little bit further than taking the interstate, probably about 15 miles further. It's not a big deal, it's just, it's gonna take longer. It always does. But it's definitely a cool route. And like I said, I did it once before, but it was a long time ago. So I don't really remember that much about it. Other than the fact that when I was doing it the first time, I was thinking, man, I need my camera. This is really cool. So I don't ever do this. I don't ever have this assignment on me. Like I said, there's one guy that does this every day, and I guess he took the day off, or maybe he's on vacation or something. So they called me yesterday and asked me if I wanted to do this, and I was like, yeah, I want to do it. It's fun. So there's a lot of like road less travel, you know, off the beaten path kind of roads that we're gonna be on to get back. And I don't know the route very well at all, other than the one other time that I did it. So it's kind of cool in that aspect, to where I'm kind of doing it blindly, and I don't really know what we're going to come across. All I know is that the roads involved in the route that I've been on before are interesting roads. So I don't remember exactly what I saw the first time I did this, but I do remember it being cool and wanting to film it. So today's kind of special. This is kind of a rare opportunity for me to show you some, you know, lesser known parts of Georgia, lesser known towns in Georgia. So we'll see what we come across, and I'll be back once we get off the interstate. Wow, that didn't take long. So here's US 1, Aiken, South Carolina. This is exit 22 on I-20, so we're literally like 22 miles from the state line with Georgia. You guys been through Augusta lately? Like recently? Man. I tried to get an opening clip. I don't know how well I did that or if I succeeded or not, but man, that work zone in Augusta on I-20, not 520, but when you just go straight through on I-20 is bad. It's like real backed up, and I think that there's actually a part of that we're gonna see again on this route. US 1, US 78, on our way over to get onto I-520. We're gonna come across some more work zone. There's a part of US 278 and US 78 that come together around there in Augusta. I do remember the traffic being really bad. So I think the GPS is actually trying to route me around that. The road that it wants me to get on, it looks like it's a state highway, but I'm not sure if it's a truck legal road or not. We're gonna find out. If not, then we're gonna have to go through another work zone on 78. Right there in the vicinity of 278. The more I do a route, the more familiar I become with it, the more I notice about it. And like I said, this one, the fact that I've only done it once before, and it was not recent either, it was a while ago, so I don't remember a whole lot about it. But right now we're on US 1 south going toward Aiken, which is where US 1 bypasses, goes around, so that's what we're gonna do, and link up with US 78 on the west side of Aiken. So because it's a bypass, I don't think there's gonna be a whole lot for us to see in this area. Okay, I just passed the city limit sign for Aiken, so we're getting close to our turn onto the bypass, which says it's also 78, so I guess US 1 and 78 come together somewhere in the vicinity of Aiken. And they must split somewhere in the vicinity of Augusta from the look of it. Now US 1, it's a very mainstream road. I think US 1 goes, it spans the entire country from like, let's see what we got here. I think I'm gonna go straight right here. I think maybe I should have turned back there, but according to the GPS, I'm gonna keep going straight. Yeah, I think that was actually the bypass behind us. I'm not sure. What just happened, but I didn't see, I saw the truck sign, but I didn't see the bypass on, so that's why I didn't turn off. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that US 1, it spans the entire eastern seaboard pretty much. It goes from Florida to Maine. I'll have to look on a map to confirm that, but yeah, I've been on US 1 in like Delaware before. There's no actual interstate that I know of in Delaware, so I think they use US 1 as an interstate going through there. It's not far from like 95 and all those other interstates in the Northeast. We're gonna come up on a right turn up here. And I hope I didn't just screw up in a way to where, you know, this is a no truck zone going through the city of Aiken, but I'm not 100% on that. I didn't change anything as far as the route goes. I didn't change anything on it, so I'm hoping that this is still going to get us to the bypass if we didn't just pass it back there. Now, I just said a minute ago, we're not going to be going through the actual town of Aiken. We're going to be bypass. Well, we might actually be going through now if I passed where I was supposed to turn back there. If I passed it up. And it looks like I did. I'm starting to think that I should have turned right back there. That's the bad thing about maps, is that it will change your route on you without notice sometimes, and you have to watch it. Okay. So this is where we're going to turn right. I still don't see anything about a bypass. I never did. Yeah, we're going through Aiken now. So that's just a bonus for you. Not really my intention to go through their town, but it looks like this is what we're doing now. I'm just thankful that there's enough room at this intersection for me to make a right turn. There we go. So this is a good situation. It's a good learning curve kind of situation, because it wasn't my intention to do this. Now I'm coming off course with my planned route. So how am I going to improv my way through this? You guys see these two intersections real close together. Now, hopefully they both turn green together, just like they're both red together, because if the one, you know, the next one turns red while this one, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to get stuck right here because I'm too long and I would be blocking the road. So I'm gonna get in the left lane up here because I'm seeing some vehicles over to the side that I don't want to get that close to. So right here I'm actually going to get in the left lane, although it's pretty much the same deal on both sides. It's a nice town. They have a historical museum over there. I think we're going to be okay, but you know, this, like I said, this is a good example of sometimes you have oopsie moments when you're trying to navigate, and you have to, from that point on, you kind of have to improv your way through the situation until you get back on course. It happens sometimes, you know. It's what Bob Ross would call a happy accident. It's not always happy though. Sometimes it's not good at all. And then those are the guys you see that end up on bonehead truckers that have to call the tow truck because they get stuck or they hit a bridge, or, you know, that's gonna happen. It's not completely avoidable. It's not completely foolproof. And when it does happen, you just, like I said, it's all about improv at that point. How well can you piece things back together as they slowly start to fall apart? When I say things, I'm just talking about your plan, your original plan. Can you improv your way back to your original plan in a safe way? And I mean, when I first started driving a truck, that happened to me a lot. I would miss turns. My GPS would lock up. I would end up on detours because of road work, and you can't really plan ahead for things like road work. So, you know, it's gonna happen sometimes. And when I first started driving, I would freak out. I would feel like so much anxiety and pressure and stress. But at this point, it's happened so many times that it's normal, you know. That's just the way that I treat it. Well, this is normal, you know. I can figure this out. This isn't too difficult. That's another reason why I like to study maps and I like to figure out how to get through areas on my own, because the more you do that, the more experience you get with it. The more natural it becomes for you. And when you mess up, the easier it is to fix your mistakes without doing stupid stuff and ending up on bonehead truckers. Anyway, that's Aiken. We just drove through it unintentionally. It's a nice place. South Carolina is really cool. There's some cool stuff in this state. They don't have the best roads in comparison to other states, but it's a pretty cool state. I like South Carolina. I like Charleston. I like Myrtle Beach. I was telling you guys on my first video that I used to do food service. I think I told you that. But anyway, I used to come here every week. And Columbia, Florence, like up the coast from like Pawleys Island all the way up to what's that city called? Wilmington, North Carolina. I would just go up the coast. That's US 17 right there, and I think US 1 actually joins US 17 as it goes up the coast, if I'm not mistaken. And so that was my route. I would do that every week and go through Myrtle Beach, and I never went to Charleston in a truck, but yeah, I liked it. It was cool. Had a good time doing it. Okay, this little area right here is called Clearwater. I remember seeing it on the GPS or on the map. And our turn is going to be up here at this next light. It is a state highway, so and I see a truck on it right there, so I think we're good to go ahead and go that way. Now that work zone I'm talking about going around, it's not it's not one of those work zones that you really want to have anything to do with. I mean, it's bad. I remember sitting in it. Notice I said sitting in it instead of driving through it, because I did more sitting than driving when I went through there. The last time I did this, coming from McDonough, not going back, it was so bad that I distinctly remember telling myself, okay, I'm not coming back this way. And so I didn't. So I'm glad that, you know, this road's right here. It is a state highway, and it's gonna get me to 520. It's actually 2 miles away. We're gonna turn left and take the inner loop till we get to US 1 once again. Now Now, as soon as we get on 520, I'll let you know how far it is to the exit for US 1. I kind of learned my lesson today too, coming over here. You know, when you're coming into Augusta, you have the option to get on 520. I mean, it's like 285, right? It's the Beltway. It goes around. You don't have to. So unlike in Atlanta, where trucks have to use 285, you don't have to get on 520 in Augusta, but you should, and you're better off doing it. I learned my lesson today, staying on 20, going straight through, and I hope I captured that work zone for you guys well enough. When we were crossing over the Savannah River, I sat in that road work for quite a while, and all I really had to do was get on this road and go around it. So from now on, that's what I'm gonna do. Not that I even come here that often. I really don't ever. Sometimes I do, but not very often do I come over here. Augusta, not that hill, but I'm showing you that hill because Augusta's right over there. It's a really cool city. It would be cool. It would be worth taking a trip to Augusta just to check it out, experience like downtown and everything. It's similar to Macon. It's probably more similar to like Columbus though, because it is off of the Savannah River. And so you've got this whole riverfront part of Augusta, just like you have in Columbus. I think maybe the river that, don't quote me on this, but I think it's the Chattahoochee River that goes through Columbus. Well, it's the Savannah River that goes through Augusta. So they're kind of similar in that sort of a way. I've seen pictures, but I've never actually been to the riverfront part of Augusta. I've never gone, you know, I've driven through it in a truck, you know, making deliveries or whatever, but I've never actually experienced it as like a tourist or whatever. But I've seen the pictures and it's pretty nice. They have like a riverfront park. I'll try to find a picture of it, but you're standing there on the bank of the river looking across the Savannah River, and you can see on the other side of it, which is South Carolina, you can, you know, see like that nice mansions and stuff on the other side of the river. It's pretty cool looking. Their downtown is pretty cool too. It's a pretty clean city. Well maintained, well taken care of. Okay, we're 12 miles from the other side where US 1. We're gonna hook back up with US 1. Now, what we're driving over right now is also US 1, and I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see that or not, but that's downtown Augusta right there. So, I mean, under certain circumstances, you can probably drive a truck through their, you know, main street that goes through downtown, which I'm sure US 1 is related to that in some way or another. I could probably do that. I just don't want to mess with it right now. I'm not really sure what to expect if I were to do that. If there's like low clearances and stuff, there could be. But yeah. I'd rather go through there in a car beforehand, just so I know what to expect, you know. Okay, this is the Savannah River right here that we're crossing over. It's not a very good shot of it, but it's right there. And then here's the Welcome to Georgia sign. First thing you see is a huge foundry plant. I don't know what that is. Could be ethanol, something to do with ethanol. I mean, it kind of looks like it. There's a lot of agriculture out here, so that's probably, you know, they take their corn or whatever grain, whatever you call that stuff, silage, chaff, whatever, and use it to make ethanol. And that's probably what that is over there. Exit 5, US 1, which is also right here. It's the new highway that they just finished in 2018. It's Georgia 540. But that's a newer road, actually pretty much brand new, that it existed for a while. I mean, parts of it have been around for a while and were considered other highways, like parts of other highways, but they just recently, you know, back in 2018, completed it to where it goes all the way across Georgia. And they did that, you know, for the sole purpose of having an alternative route to I-20 for commercial vehicles to get from one side to the other, like Columbus over here to Augusta. And it goes through Macon, and it goes, you know, across central Georgia. We're going to be on it for a little while. And actually, I don't think I've ever, you know, been on US 1 right here. That I can recall, so this is a new area I don't think I've driven before. But our next turn is going to be that right turn onto Georgia 80 that I was showing you. It's about 25 miles away from here. The city of Rennes is what it's going to be when we make that turn. Okay, we're getting real close to Georgia 80 now. And this city called Rennes. Now it's you know, to be kind of out here and not really off of any major roads except for this one. I mean, this is a major road, but what I mean is, like, it's not connected to an interstate or anything. This is actually a pretty good sized city if it's the one that I'm thinking it is. If it's the city I remember it being, this is actually a pretty big city to be, like, out in the country like this. I didn't get to see a whole lot of it, but from what I saw, it's a pretty bustling town. It's not like huge, it's not like Macon, but it's a pretty decent sized city. I've been noticing more and more lately that some of these roads that I drive on that are just out here, they're not really terribly busy roads, but I've been noticing, like, more and more people, more and more like four-wheelers with road rage on roads like this. And it's like, golly, I mean, I get it. I mean, sometimes I feel that way too when I'm driving, but why would you have road rage in a place like this? I mean, it's not hectic, it's not stressful. Okay, we just reached the city limit sign. There's another US route coming up on the right. It's 221. And then we're less than a mile away from our turnoff. There's the junction with 221 and Georgia 47 right there. It says that goes to Harlem, Georgia. I've never heard of Harlem. Let's see, it's a decent sized city. It's not like some of these other places I've shown you where it takes like 2 seconds to drive through the whole town, you know what I'm saying? Now, I imagine it gets much more bustling as you continue going in that direction there, but this is where we're going to turn off. If, well, actually we can't. We can't do that. So we do have to go this way. You gotta watch the GPS because it'll do that. That's another thing that it likes to do. I'll put in an intersection where two roads come together because I know that's where, you know, the highways meet. But then you've got all these other side streets that you want to avoid unless it actually, you know, you got a sign saying truck route, go that way. And the GPS will just change it without letting you know. So you got to pay attention to where the signs are for the state highways and the US routes. Like you gotta stay on top of it and be vigilant when you're using maps, or it'll do stuff like that. But thankfully, before I turned onto that road, I noticed a sign that said no trucks. And all that road is it's like a cut road. It's a shortcut, so you don't have to come all the way down here. But yeah, as you can see, it's not exactly small. It might not be large, but it's not exactly small either. Okay. We do actually want to turn right here. It's kind of a small turning lane though. And it looks like it's gonna fork off to the left up here. And 1.8 miles. See, I'm not perfect. Sometimes I screw up. Sometimes I overlook things. I try not to, but I'm still, you know, I'm just human, so I'm not perfect. Sometimes I screw up. And this is kind of what it's like. When I say I'm doing something blindly, this is what I mean. Like, I've never done it before, so I have to learn. If I started doing it on a regular basis, I'd be able to memorize it and not have any issues at all with it. But I'm not gonna do this very often. Because like I said, that other driver, he does this every day. I can almost guarantee you he doesn't go this way. He probably just uses the interstate like every other normal truck driver out there. But I'm not normal. That's why my channel is called Truck Me Eccentrically. So I'm not normal. If I was not able to do stuff like this as a truck driver, then I wouldn't want to be a truck driver. If I had to stay on the interstate, oh my gosh, it would just be the most boring thing I could think of. Like, it would get so old. And sometimes I appreciate the interstate. I'm glad that it's there if I need it, you know. Okay, we've got a Junction, Georgia 80 sign right here. So we're gonna make a left. And this is gonna take us up. Remember how I was saying we're gonna go northwest when I showed you the route. We turn on Georgia 80 and go northwest. That's what we're doing. All the way up there to Highway 16, Georgia 16. Warrenton. Okay, I kind of remember this part. There's a couple different ways you can actually get to 16. You can stay on 80 or you can turn onto Georgia 115. And I think what I did is I actually went to Warrenton, the city that I just saw a sign for it. It said it was like 20 miles away. Or you can just totally bypass that city altogether if you want. Either way, you're gonna end up on 16 eventually. But it looks like just to play it safe, I'm gonna stay on 80. Because that 115, it might actually veer off into another direction. I don't know that 115 connects with 16 or not, so I know that I can get to 16 if I stay on 80, so I'm just gonna stay on 80. That's the plan, so let's do it. And this city up here, Warrenton, it's another one of those funny cities where they're very particular with how they want trucks to travel through. So once I get up here to Warrenton, we're gonna have to scope out the truck route signs, and I'm gonna have to see the best way to get to 16. I think all I have to do is stay on 80 and make a left turn, and then that turns into 16. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I love being out in places like this, though. It's just, oh, it's just peaceful, you know. It's easy. These are some easy roads. It's peaceful and it's scenic, and it just gives you a good feeling, you know. Just sit back, relax, enjoy the scenery, enjoy the day, enjoy being alive. Enjoy creation, you know. And sometimes you'd be surprised what you might find out in places like this. I appreciate these kind of towns, you know, these kind of areas where it's just barely on the map, and you know, they're happy. They're happy with that. They're not like all like, hey, look at us, you have to come visit our city, we're awesome, you know, we're trying to, you know, sell out on tourism and become a tourist trap. We can't live without your attention. No, places like this, they don't care. They're not trying to grow in their industry or grow in their population. They're just satisfied with life. It's a nice agricultural community where people are probably closer knit to each other than, you know. Let me say it like this. The family and the citizens of places like this are closely knit, but their properties, their homes, they're far apart. They're spread out, you know. But that doesn't mean that they're not necessarily, you know, a close-knit community. A lot of the people that live in areas like this, they probably just, you know, are pretty satisfied with life, you know, just enjoying simple pleasures, and they like it like that. They probably work really hard and reap the benefits of their hard work and just kind of mind their own business, do their own thing. Nothing wrong with that. And if you compare a place like this with, say, you know, McDonough, the area that I live in, the area that I'm from, it's like we don't have that much wide open space. You know, it's not like this. There's a lot of people and everybody's just kind of breathing down each other's necks, and a lot of the people, they just seem like they're extremely stressed out. They're living these fast-paced lives and they never slow down. See, if I had to live like that all the time, where I just never slowed down to smell the roses, you know, and just relax and not think about money or any other kind of propaganda or anything like that, then man, it just, stuff like that'll just suck the life out of you. You guys know what I'm talking about? Like, how nice is it to just sit in your rocking chair on your front porch and just enjoy an ice cold tea? You know, remember what it's like to feel alive without all this stimulation, you know, desensitizing us. You know, there's a time to work. When you work hard, and hard work brings you stuff like that, you know. It's a whole crop. Somebody worked hard to get that to grow. But then there's also a time to just relax. Kind of hard to believe I'm in Georgia right now. You know what I'm saying? This road right here, it kind of reminds me of like Indiana or maybe Illinois, although Illinois is not quite as hilly in most places. But it's not, I mean, there aren't a whole lot of hills around here. It's pretty flat. We're almost in Warrenton at this point. So I'm gonna keep my eyes open and try to look out for any kind of truck route signs that are kind of pointing me toward the direction of Georgia 16. Once we get on 16, we're gonna stay on that road for a long time until we get back to McDonough, pretty much. I'm not sure, like the GPS is doing some crazy crap right now. I'm not sure what it's doing exactly, but it's just, I'm looking at a clear path on the map that's going to get me to 16, but the GPS is not registering it. It's trying to get me to do every other thing except the way that makes the most sense. You know what I'm saying? So I'm hoping that that doesn't mean there's a road closure or something crazy like that to worry about, because I really need to get on 16 up here in order to go the way that I want to go. A lot of railroad crossings around here. I've already passed maybe 3 of them in the past few miles. There's a road up here, it's called Legion Drive, and I'm wondering if that's not the kind of the bypass. It's not really it's just a little side road that kind of bypasses the main strip in Warrenton, because I'm pretty sure that's the area that they don't want trucks to be in. So in the next mile, I'm expecting to see a sign that says truck route, turn left. Because the main road that goes through the town is actually US 278. So that's what I'm going to be looking out for when I get up here. It's kind of weird, you know, usually you wouldn't think that a truck route would take you off of a major highway and put you on a little road. You think it would be the opposite of that, where you want to avoid the little roads, but that's not always the case. I remember having to do something weird like that to get through here. Warrenton city limit, junction bypass 278, Sparta left. Okay. So it's not a tiny road, but it is gonna bypass the main part going through 278. Quite a bit of traffic coming through here right now for such a small town. See, in my head I can picture places like this being the next big deal, because there's just such a lack of it in most people's lives. You know, most people live in big cities and they're just craving stuff like this. So the next thing you know, there's gonna be a lot of people moving out places like this until they get bored again, and then they'll probably leave. Okay, that's Georgia 171 right there. That goes to a city called Gibson, which sounds kind of interesting. As a guitar player, that name Gibson kind of stands out to me. But Highway 16 is up here on the left. And then once we get on Highway 16, we'll be all right. Look at those old abandoned shacks. I'm assuming it's at the stop sign up here. Place just gives off a really cool feeling, like historically even. See, go straight, that gets you back to I-20. Okay, 25 miles to Sparta. So here's another little pleasant surprise to throw in the mix. Jewel. Oh, look at that house. Look at that house. Doesn't say that it's a city, it just says community. Jewel community. So just a small little strip of some houses, and it's a community. Like I said, everybody knows everybody's name. People are friendly, you know, kind to each other. Neighbors. The golden rule kind of place. So that's pretty down there. Oh man, that over there looks really cool too. Yeah. Small community. Jewel. Like the singer. Who will save your souls? Never again. Okay, I'm sorry. We're almost there. We're about 10 miles away. Sparta. Not that Sparta, and not that Sparta, but Sparta, Georgia, the city. Now, this particular city that we're going to be coming into in a few minutes is very interesting to me. If there was one city in Georgia that I could think of, you know, right off, that really strikes the definition of the novel and movie Gone with the Wind, you know, Margaret Mitchell, Gone with the Wind, this would be the city. Because if you look at the city, it's gone with the wind. I mean, you guys, you're going to be able to tell what I'm talking about. We're actually going to be coming into it from probably the best angle, the best side, because you're going to get to see all of it pretty much. It's not big at all, but it's I mean, we're actually starting to head into it right now, but you can tell just by looking at the houses and the buildings that the place was once significant, and also that it has not been touched. It's old as crap, but it has not been touched by anything except for the hand of God through time. I mean, it just looks like it was left to just pretty much rot away after the Civil War. That's what I mean when I say Gone with the Wind. You know, it's very interesting looking. And at one point, you know, before the Civil War, it was pretty significant. It's not far from Milledgeville, but Milledgeville survived the Civil War, and it continued to grow and thrive after that. Sparta, it didn't really survive. When the war was over, it didn't really survive. We talked a little, look at that church right there. Wow. We talked a little bit about, or I talked a little bit about the Civil War in my last video, and was kind of describing, you know, how Macon and Milledgeville came to be, and it used to all be land that was inhabited by Native Americans, and they ran them out. They took their land and they built these cities in place of, you know, the Native American culture where it used to live and thrive. There's an old train trestle, wooden train trestle. I bet they still use that too to this day, but it's old. So when you look at this place, you'll kind of understand what I'm talking about. It's like it was just left behind after the war. It's like the Union came down and they took over, they took the land, and, you know, all these estates that were owned by wealthy Confederate leaders, for lack of a better word, they lost everything after the Civil War, and their manors were just kind of left to rot. And that's what you're gonna see when you come to Sparta. So it's pretty fascinating. It's a good glimpse, a good look into what things were like before the Civil War here. Don't think that I'm condoning anything pre-Civil War. I'm not. I'm just saying this city is a good example of what cities would have been like, you know, other than the fact that it's virtually falling apart. And if you're from Sparta, I'm not trying to talk crap about your town. I'm just saying, like, it's kind of sad, you know, that it was just the state that it's in is kind of sad, but it's also a good history lesson at the same time. I did a little bit of research about the city and how it got its name and everything, and I think it was actually it was one of the Native American wars. If it was like the War of 1812 or the French Indian War or something like that, the Creek Wars. I'm not sure which war it was, but it was prior to the Civil War. And the settlers that lived here, the white settlers that lived here, that fought in that war, were given the name Spartans. They were they were actually referred to as Spartans because that's how they fought in those Native American wars. We're actually entering in the city limit right now, so that's how they got their name. And this city, it was like the first city around here to have a newspaper. So they were one of the first cities to get a printing press back then. It was significant. But if you look at it now, it's just, you know, it's poverty stricken and it's falling apart. It's decaying. So there are mansions around here. I'll try to find some pictures of some of them that they're decaying, they're falling apart, but at one point you could tell that they were just immaculate structures. And there's just not a whole lot happening in this city. Not much left here. If you did some research on the economics of the place, I'm sure you'd see that it's not a very high income area. And as far as like the ethnicity and the population, there's probably like charts and stuff, demographics to look at about the ethnicity of the city and how it's sectioned out and stuff. But definitely an interesting place, to say the least. I mean, it's not like completely desolate, but it is, in comparison to like Monticello, actually the next city that we're heading into, Eatonton, you know, it just didn't develop. Things didn't really pan out much post-Civil War. And they've got a town, like a strip and everything for their town. They have a pretty nice looking courthouse or town hall, whichever one that is. This is their square. But yeah, I mean, the houses, you'll find a lot of houses that look like that around here, where they're just, you know, if they were restored, then they would actually be pretty nice. Their square looks all right. I mean, it's okay. But you know, just not a whole lot going on here. I'm sure it's a tight-knit community. Again, the people here, they're probably hard-working, you know, survivors. But it's just one of those towns. I didn't mean to talk about it like make it sound like it's washed up or anything like that, but it's just, it's humble, you know? Not a lot of development going on here, and that's cool, that's fine. That's actually a good thing, you know? But that's Sparta. Okay, this is where 16 forks off, and the next town that we come to is called Eatonton. It's kind of a weird name. It's probably somebody's last name, but it's like Eaton, and it's kind of hard to say. Like, I've always wanted to call it Eatonton. It's kind of tricky to say it just right, but it's Eatonton. But if you look at it, it actually looks like it's eat on ton. And that's where we're headed to next. And I mean, it's definitely bigger than Sparta, and it's definitely, you know, more populated. I'd say it's a pretty popular city, even in a modern sense. There's a lot of people in this next city, a lot of traffic, but it's also another nice city that's preserved, and they have a nice looking courthouse, nice town square. Their square is actually huge. It's bigger than the square in Covington or Monticello or Jackson. They got a pretty big square. But the cool thing about these cities I'm showing you is that they don't have the explosive modern development agenda like all the other cities. Because like McDonough, Covington, all those cities, they have historical districts, but then they also have the explosive, you know, modern commercial parts and industrial parts and everything. And that's what's special about these cities, is that they didn't sell out. You know, they don't have any kind of agenda. They don't want their city to be the next McDonough, you know. And if you want to look at a good example of what can happen to a city if it grows out of itself and it gets too big, too fast, then look at the city of McDonough. Look at the traffic, look at the infrastructure of the roads, and look how it's developed over the span of the last 50 years. And that's a good example of what can happen. I mean, the roads are a nightmare in places like McDonough, where they grew up too fast and they didn't really uphold the infrastructure of the road for the amount of growth that occurred there. So you've got issues now with horrible traffic because it was just kind of poor planning in the works. And I mean, if you know this area, you know McDonough, I don't have to explain it to you. You know what I'm talking about. Like, they're still developing industrially. Is that even a word? They're still developing industry in McDonough, and they don't have the infrastructure to support it, in my opinion. Like, they don't have the roads to handle the amount of industry that they're taking in currently. They just don't have enough infrastructure. So the more they develop, the worse things are going to get, and things are already really bad. Well, they're just going to get worse because they're not slowing down in the development aspect. But we're another 20 miles from Eatonton. I'll catch back up with you then. Check that out. That's an old mill right there. I don't know much about it, but I forgot it was in this on this part of 16, or I would have got better footage of it. It's really cool looking. Very interesting. I'm gonna do some research on that place. Now we're coming up into the area that I said was my favorite part of Highway 16, and it's awesome out here. I love it. There's actually I was really thinking that mill was between Eatonton and Monticello, but it's not. It's between Eatonton and Sparta. But you've got a few points of interest out here. Maybe not for a lot of people, but for, you know, like for me, I think it's pretty interesting. But you've got this old effigy site, Native American, and it's called Rock Hawk. It's off of this road, and it's pretty much just like another one called Rock Eagle, which is actually, it's also not far from here. Rock Eagle is more off of US 441, and Rock Hawk is off of 16. But there are these mounds where they gathered a bunch of stones and they kind of laid it out in the shape of a hawk, in the shape of an eagle, and it's pretty cool. They built these towers. Well, first of all, they preserved the land. They turned it into a park, like a memorial park, and they built towers next to the mounds where you can climb up and you can get like a bird's eye view of the eagle and the hawk. And it's very interesting. They don't really seem to know a whole lot about either site, other than they believe that they were placed by, yeah, I've heard people say Cherokee, but they don't know how old they are. So it could be older than, it could actually be a Mississippian era thing, because there's a lot of like I've already mentioned, the Ocmulgee National Monument, where the Mississippians built burial grounds and lodges, like underground, like earth lodges, that are underground. So they could perhaps be remnants from the Mississippian era natives, you know, which they say go back thousands of years. But I'm pretty sure we're about to pass the Rock Hawk effigy mound. I think it's up here on the right somewhere. I really hate that I just missed all. Like, I really wanted to talk about that mill before I drove up on it, but I forgot that it was in this part of 16. But I love it out here, you guys. This is Georgia 16. It's got to be one of my favorite roads in Georgia, and especially this part of it. It's just, there's something about it. It just gives off this feeling, you know, of serenity for me. Like I feel so good when I'm driving out here. It's calms me down. Very serene, very scenic, rolling hills, nice views. Okay, and we're crossing over, is this Lake Oconee? What is this? Doesn't say. But yeah, check this out. So cool. We're not very far from Lake Oconee at this point. So it's kind of interesting. If you're on 441, if you guys watched my last video, you're actually gonna cross over Lake Sinclair. If you're coming up from Milledgeville toward Madison, you're gonna cross Lake Sinclair, and then you're gonna cross Lake Oconee just before you cross over I-20. And it's nice out there too. I'd love to make a video driving, you know, on that part of 441, or make a video going through Milledgeville. Maybe one day I can. I do have some older footage from my previous channel, Faith for Freight, where I did go through Milledgeville, but it was dark. I used to work graveyard, and I just came off of that in March this year. So a lot of my older videos are just dark. There's the Rock Hawk effigy right there. I'll show you a picture of what it looks like. So that's what Rock Hawk looks like. I just took my kids out there this spring and I got some video of it. So that's what the Rock Hawk looks like. And then here's what Rock Eagle looks like. So Rock Eagle's definitely in better shape, better condition than Rock Hawk. You can definitely see a more prominent shape of an eagle in comparison to Rock Hawk, which we just passed. This route that I'm on right now, it's actually part of the Georgia Scenic Byway. They used to call it the Antebellum Trail. They obviously changed the name of it because it's kind of like that whole word antebellum. It's kind of offensive, you know. So, you know, they changed the name of it to Georgia Scenic Byway. It's just a route, like a series of highways in Georgia. Historical roads that take you through some historical towns, and it's nice. I'd like to actually drive on it one day in my car. Maybe make a video about it on my main channel. Wow, that's old. I don't know what that was. Maybe a general store or something. It's abandoned now. But yeah, it's stuff like this that make my videos so long, because I want to capture this whole road. I don't know when I'm gonna be out here again, you know. So now that I have my camera, I just want to film the whole thing. So I'm kind of greedy, I know. But hopefully there are people that find this video that will look at, you know, the scenery out here, the history, the backstory to all of it, and be interested in it, as interested as I am with it. And I don't know if you guys have noticed this or not, but ever since I got off of US 1 back there, Georgia 540, the road I was talking about that spans central Georgia, there really hasn't been any traffic on the road. I mean, I'm passing vehicles, but I haven't been, you know, behind anybody, and I don't have anybody behind me at all. I mean, there's hardly anybody out here. This is the kind of stuff that I look for. And when I find it, I enjoy it, you know. Kind of helps balance out everything, you know, for the time that I spend on the interstate, the time that I spend going through really busy areas with a lot of traffic. Again, where people are breathing down each other's necks, you know, there's road rage, the whole 9 yards. I like to balance all that out with time spent on roads like this. You know, maybe average people would look at all this and, you know, just think that this is really boring, but not me. I didn't even mean to say average. Like, I don't take that the wrong way. Like I'm special or something because I'm intrigued by stuff like that. That's not what I mean. I'm just saying, like, most people would probably be bored out of their minds, just like most people that watch my videos or find my videos would probably just be bored out of their minds. You probably couldn't pay most people to watch this kind of stuff, but some people actually like it. In fact, I wanted to talk a little bit about this. Like, I have 2 subscribers now to my channel, and I think that's awesome. I have one video in particular. It's the video Physics Trumps Ego, that has over 100 views on it, and that's awesome. It probably has that many views because of the title of the video, but that's awesome. I just want to say thank you. Somebody actually left a thumbs up on my videos, on all of them, I think. And I just want to say thanks. Thank you. If you like this and you really enjoy it, you find this entertaining, well, you might be one in a few that actually feel that way. And if that's the case, I just want to say thanks for leaving the thumbs up. It means a lot to me. Even if I'm just entertaining you, just one person, that's enough reason for me to say, okay, let's make another video. And I really appreciate it when people leave comments on my videos. They're not always positive comments, but I mean, at least I know that even if you left a negative comment, at least I know that you're watching it. You're getting something out of it. Hopefully your takeaway isn't negative, but a lot of times I've gotten criticized in the past and told that I talk too much and that I'm too redundant and I draw things out way too much. make things way too long, and you know, been accused of purposely making boring videos, like trying to bore the crap out of people, but I'm not. That's not what I'm doing. If you compare it to most YouTube videos, it just doesn't fall in that criteria, because that's not what I want to do. It's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to overwhelm you with entertainment. I'm just showing you my experience, and I don't have to like build it up or make it seem like so much more than it actually is, or try to make it seem more special than it actually is, or like something huge happened. No, it's not like that, and that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to impress people, and I'm not trying to make a movie. I'm not trying to structure a film or anything like that. This is all unscripted, real life, my experience. And yeah, it might be mundane, it might be ordinary, but it is what it is. There's a sign back there we just passed. It says Scenic Farms Driving Tour, which sounds kind of interesting. If I was in my car, I saw that the last time I came through here, and I was thinking, that's pretty cool. I'd like to go, you know, take that tour of all the scenic farms. I wonder what's down there. But we're coming up on Eatonton now. About 3 miles away. But I just, you know, if you notice, I just left the camera rolling through that entire span of Highway 16 because it's my favorite part of 16. Actually, one of my favorite stretches of road to drive on. So I wanted to film the whole thing. I hope you guys don't mind. Okay, Eatonton, city limits. You guys are gonna like Eatonton. Very cool place. Again, their square is gigantic. You'll see it. Can't miss it. We're actually going to cross over 441 in a minute. Okay, we got a junction with Georgia 44 right here. That road will actually take you to Greensboro, Georgia, which is east of Madison. That's actually a good way to cross over Lake Oconee, is on Highway 44. Welcome to Eatonton. Sorry my windows are so dirty. Kind of unavoidable in the summertime, a lot of bugs. Okay, right turn at the square to stay on Highway 16. Automatic green light, that was cool. You guys see how close I got to that car? And I wanted to watch it, make sure I didn't get too close to it, but it's fine. Okay, yeah, their town hall or courthouse or whatever that is, it's kind of so big, it's gonna be kind of hard to see, but there it is right there. You guys see it? I hope you can see that. But yeah, this is a huge square. And you know, just like every other town, old town in the South, they have their Confederate memorials and stuff. But yeah, I hope I got good footage of that. It's kind of trying to keep my eye on everybody around me and the vehicles around me and stuff. So if I didn't get the best footage of that, I apologize. I do actually have some pretty decent shots of that courthouse from a previous video that I made last winter, but hopefully I'll put that right there. You guys, there's another shot of it. And so yeah, that was Eatonton, and now the next town we've got is Monticello, which is, again, it's about another 20 miles away. It's about 17 miles. But you see how the towns, they're spaced apart almost incrementally, you know, equal distances from each other. Kind of fascinating. Here's 441 though. We're actually not far from the part of 441 that we were on in my previous video. We're probably about 20 to 30 miles away from Milledgeville. So we're gonna cross right over 441. Yeah, I hate that I was looking in that mirror the whole time, you know, so I kind of missed the best shots that I could have got, but that car was like right there. I wanted to make sure I didn't hit that car. So I kind of blew that. I feel like I didn't get very good footage of it. Okay. Oh, it actually says we are 21 miles from Monticello, so a little bit further than I thought. But, you know, as you can see, 16, it just keeps going west here. It's just more rolling hills and more scenery from here out. Actually, I believe we're about to drive into part of the Oconee National Forest. Yeah, there's a sign for Oconee National Forest right here. Now, pretty soon, we're gonna be entering Jasper County if we haven't already. But they say that this area right here, this is the deer capital of Georgia. And I believe it because, you know, formerly, when I was talking earlier about how I used to work the graveyard, I would drive from McDonough to Athens every night. My appointment was at midnight in Athens, and I would drive through Monticello to get there, so I would take 16 to 83, which is actually, we're gonna cross over 83. It goes up through Shadydale, and then it eventually to Madison to 278. in Madison. And I wouldn't come through here every night, but I would go up 83, so I would be in this area, and man, you're talking about just troves of deer everywhere. I mean, really got to be careful at night because they are nocturnal and they're just everywhere. It seems like the deer population is just out of control. That's what it seems like. Maybe all the deer are just, they just want to stand by the road, or maybe they just want to be seen, you know? Maybe they're just, they want to be mesmerized by headlights. I don't know, but I'm telling you, in the past few years, I've seen more deer than I've seen in my entire life combined. Like, so many deer. But this right here, this is really cool. This is really cool. I don't know a whole lot about the Oconee National Forest, but it seems awesome to me. Like, I want to do some more research on it and maybe visit if there are, you know, because it's all preserved land. I don't know if people are allowed to go up in there, if they have like campsites or what. But it would be nice to take a trip, and it's not that far away from my house, so when the weather chills out and it's not 100 degrees outside, it would be cool to take a visit there. If you can actually go in and they have like trails and stuff, they probably do. But something interesting I wanted to point out is that my wife recently, she showed me this picture of that somebody took from a boat dock on Jackson Lake, which is, you know, right down the street from where I live, pretty much. And they took a picture of the bank on the side of the lake. I don't know exactly where they were, but there was a freaking black bear, like a big black bear, just sitting on the bank of Jackson Lake. And that's pretty crazy because nobody's ever had that I know about, and I've never heard anything like this before, that there are black bears in this area. But you can see it plain as day in the picture, so it's just kind of crazy. But it seems like to me, if there were black bears around here, because they're definitely in North Georgia, but you know, I've never heard anything about black bears being down this far south. But I guess it wouldn't be out of the possibility, the realm of possibility. But it seems like to me that if they were going to be anywhere, they would be in a national forest like that. And all of that land to the left of us, that's all national forest. Some of it might be forestry, you know, lotted out for timberland or whatever, where they're going to cut the trees down. But most of that land right there, it's a huge section of land, and it's all wildlife preserve land. And there's some huge trees in that forest. Like I can see them on the side of the road, like just giant trees, which is awesome. So we should be, in a couple minutes, we should be passing the junction with 212, where in my last video we actually came up 212 and turned left onto 16 to head into Monticello Square. So if you saw that video, you should recognize where we are in just a minute. I'll probably end it there. No point in filming Jackson again. I think I've filmed that place enough. I've gotten enough footage going through there. It's just the same old path. But I feel like I didn't, maybe in my last video I didn't capture Monticello Square very well, so I'll get it again and then I'll let you guys go. We're almost there. I know I keep saying this every time I make a video, that this is one of my favorite routes, but like this one, seriously, if I could drive this route that I just showed you every day, oh man, it would be great. It's like perfect. All the other routes I've shown you, there's always something about them that I don't like, that I have to point out to you, but this one, it's like perfect. There's really nothing about it that I don't like at all. Like, it's so cool. It would be cool if it somehow it kind of went through Milledgeville too, because I like driving through Milledgeville. But yeah, there's really nothing about it that I don't like. Yeah, we just connected up with 212, so you guys saw this in the last video if you watched it. This city right here, Monticello, it's definitely caught the attention of a lot of people. A lot of people have moved here, and it's definitely became more lively in just the past few years, I would say. There didn't used to be nearly as much hustle and bustle coming through here as there is now. Like, a lot of people are moving here now. A few years ago, it was kind of dead coming through here. There wasn't much going on at all. But now there's a lot of traffic here now. This square is it stays packed out during the day. There's a shot of their courthouse though. It's like I can't cross the intersection, because if I do, I'll be blocking part of it, so I gotta wait and see. Once you go down to the other end of the square and you make that left, there's another traffic light down there, and that's why it's not moving, because that traffic light was red. So it can be kind of tricky coming through here. But at least you guys get to take a better look at it this time. Or get a better look at it. It's pretty similar to like Covington Square, but you can't drive a truck through Covington Square. They won't let you. And I mean, the traffic is getting so bad here that it's like, don't look at me like that, man. I'm sitting at the intersection, the line. Don't you love it when people are in this, they're in a situation like that, and then they look at you like it's your fault? It's just easier to blame somebody else for your challenges, I guess. No, it's a small square and you're in a truck just like me. And you feel awkward because you're driving up on the curb and there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing I can do about it. It's gonna be okay. Don't give me a eat shit look. It's not my fault. It's gonna be okay though. Drive on the dang sidewalk. Do what you gotta do. Make your turn. Don't hit anything, but it's gonna be all right. Sorry. He just, the look he gave me, like that the world would be a better place if you weren't in it right now because you're in my way kind of a look. Did you guys see that? Did I even get the guy's face? The way he looked at me? I'm not trying to make a big deal about it. I'm just trying to make my point, I guess, which my point isn't a big deal. Everybody does that. It's human nature. But yeah, if we're just honest about it, that's all I'm trying to do, is be honest about it. I've done the same thing. Because when you're driving a truck and you're in a lot of times you'll find that you're in between a rock and a hard place, and it's just easier to try to blame your situation on somebody else. Take some of the burden off yourself, but that's not real. So the only thing that really matters is that he made the turn and he did it. He didn't hit anything. That's what really matters. That's all that's important. He got through it. Anyway, that was Monticello Square. And as promised, I'll let you guys go. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry, I didn't mean for it to end on a negative note. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just responding, reacting, talking about what happens when you drive a truck. You guys actually, if you watch these videos, you guys have seen me do something like that before in a truck, so I'm not trying to make a big deal about it. I guess if there's one thing I could have done, I could have like stayed up off of the intersection, but the thing is, if I did that, then when the light turned green and I actually had the right of way, I would have had vehicles cutting me off. So I just came all the way up and got close to it instead of hanging back. Because if he would have been sitting there, look, listen to me, I'm trying to justify myself right now. It's not even necessary. Not even necessary. Crap happens. But if he had been sitting there at the intersection waiting to make a right turn, then obviously I would have stayed back. But he wasn't there when I pulled up to the intersection, so that's why I didn't stay back. It's because I wanted to go as soon as the light turned green. I wanted to get through it. So you guys see how easily negativity can be spread around like a cancer, like a virus? Well, you don't have to absorb it. All you got to do is expose it. Don't absorb it, just expose it for what it is. And it's okay. It doesn't matter. Let it roll off of you. We're not playing the blame game. We're not playing the shame game. None of that's real. Stay positive, people. The only reason why I'm making such a big deal about this is because I suspect similar things happen to anybody who's listening to this. And I want to talk about it and just give you my perspective and kind of teach myself how to not absorb the negativity, but to just let it roll off. No, I don't like it when people give me looks like that, but it's okay. I understand. I'm a truck driver too. I know it's not easy. I know sometimes you gotta do crap like that, and it makes you feel awkward when you do it. You feel like you did something wrong, but he didn't do anything wrong, and I didn't do anything wrong, and we're all gonna be okay. We're all gonna live to see another day. All right. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, leave a like. Thank you. I appreciate it. Leave a comment too if you want to. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Wherever I go, I'll see you there. All right. Jared, that's my name, by the way. I don't know that I ever formally introduced myself with my name. My name is Jared. And I'm signing out with TME. Truck me eccentrically. All right. Have a good one. Later.